You're watching BionicDance. Don't run on automatic, instead, please think.
The tactical game plan is meant to help you maneuver carefully and productively in a relaxed way, in a friendly fashion, in conversations with people who don't share your convictions, while providing a tremendous amount of safety for you.
Safety for you? Safety from what exactly? Oh, that's right. From arguments that may challenge your own position. That's what. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. Today we have a video that honestly pissed me right the heck off. Why? Because it illustrates the inherent dishonesty in the Christian argument. And I say Christian because I'm not sure I've seen these particularly dishonest debate tactics from anybody else. Except one, which we'll discuss later. For now, here's Koukl, who I already thought was an enormous tool, but now he just goes and proves it.
The first step is to gather information. You gather that information by asking some form of the question, what do you mean by that? The second question is to reverse the burden of proof. That is, once you learn what a person's view is, you want to know why they believe that view. They made the claim, they bear the burden of proof. You can ask them, now how did you come to that conclusion?
See? Reverse the burden of proof. Make sure that your side isn't the one being challenged, and their side is being challenged. That's why we're having the conversation in the first place. They claim a God is real, but they know they can't prove it. They know it's all based on faith, so they have to do anything they can to make sure that vulnerable spot isn't being poked. It's dishonest, it's prevarication, but fortunately it's a tactic that can be rather easily countered. But we'll get to that in a bit.
If it turns out that you want to go further, then the third step of the game plan is to make a point using questions. You never want to abandon using questions at every stage of the tactical game plan because they give you a tremendous amount of latitude, liberty, and effectiveness without requiring you to take any responsibility on yourself.
I hope you're beginning to see why this video made me grouchy. A debate should be two-way. Hell, any conversation should be two-way. But he's saying you should take control, keep the other side on the defense. But theirs is the claim under scrutiny. Does a God exist, and why should anybody think so? If that wasn't the question, we wouldn't even be having a conversation about it. The burden of proof is theirs. And this steaming pantload of a video is an instruction manual on how to avoid it.
So what you want to do is you want to list the other person as an ally. You want to assemble your pieces by having that person help you put them on the table. And if you help them to do that, it's going to be very difficult for them to take that piece off of the table. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Once somebody said, prove to me that God exists. I said, first of all, do you think that things exist? He said, yeah, of course. Yeah, I know, it's a simple question. Great, now he's just put a piece on the table. Things exist. Second question, the things that exist, have they always existed? In other words, is the universe eternal? And so he said, no, I think the universe is not eternal, that it came into existence. Then I asked the third question, what caused everything to come into existence?
This is where we get into how to counter these tactics. Number one, ask their question back at them. Sure, answer it, that's honest. Then, before they can ask the second question, ask your own question. Say, why yes, I do think that things exist. Don't you? Now at least you're on some even footing. Number two, give them an answer that they don't expect. I've never seen a Christian able to respond if you tell them that, no, the universe didn't start to exist. Tell them that the universe as we know it didn't always exist, but that the matter and energy that makes it up always did, that the Big Bang was not creation, but expansion. They can't deal with it. They expect you to say yes, that the universe began to exist. They'll ask where the singularity came from. Tell them, I don't know. Do you? Again, make them answer their own questions. It makes their position vulnerable. And if they keep trying to ask questions, say to them, okay, hold on. If you have a point, Make it. Force them to state their thesis out loud, explicitly. Take control of the situation away from them. You don't have to control it yourself, though they may force that on you. Just make sure they aren't dominating it.
And here you only have two options, either something or no thing. Now, what have I done? I'm making an argument for the existence of God based on the existence of the cosmology, or the cosmos, which is a cosmological argument. In other words, the universe came into existence, what caused it. It's a very, very usable, fruitful kind of argument, but notice how I got there. Instead of just throwing it out, I am setting it up by asking questions to have that person give me the pieces that I need.
And that is why I won't play these games, because I'm unwilling to give them the pieces that they need. If they don't have them already, if they can't make their own argument from scratch, then they have no argument. Don't make it for them. Or ask them where God came from and point out their hypocrisy of saying that he always existed. It won't actually get you anywhere with them, but you're really trying to convince the people watching your debate anyway. They should be your true target. They see the Christian floundering and waffling, trying to claim that God is an exception, that he always existed without being caused, no proof required, and it lays their position's flaws bare for all to see.
Another thing that you want to do, another point you may want to make, is you may want to exploit a weakness or a flaw, okay? But you want to use questions to do that. So I had a young man tell me that I was judgmental. So I asked the question, what do you mean by that? Clarification. He said, well, it's wrong to judge. You're finding fault with somebody else, and it's wrong to do that. Okay, now he's made another statement. I got a piece on the table.
Hands up if you think that this conversation really took place. This sounds like the kind of didn't actually happen hypotheticals you hear all the time. How often do you think that these people are given exactly the answer they need to complete their argument?
And I said to him, now notice this is a question, if it's wrong to judge, then why are you judging me right now?
The problem is that the definition of judgmental he was given, that it's simply wrong to criticize others, is incorrect. Judgmental describes a tendency on someone's part, not merely a single incidence. If someone says you're judgmental, Greg, it means you've been overly disapproving. A lot. And I'm sure you know that. This is yet another way you're being dishonest. And it's another reason I think that this conversation never took place.
Now I could have said, well, you're judging me. That's a claim. Now it's an accusation. That's a fight. But if he says it's wrong to judge, then I hold him responsible for his own ethical view. Then why are you judging me right now? A little later he said, well, I think it's wrong to push your views on other people. So I asked him a clarification question, is that your view? He said, yes. And then I said, then why are you, pushing it on me right now?
And that's dishonesty yet again. Because when you're told that you shouldn't push your beliefs on others, you're being called out for trying to force others to live by your religious doctrine, like trying to have legislation passed to teach religion in schools, block gay marriage, ban various birth control options, etc. That's not the same as simply expressing an opinion about someone's behavior. And you know it. If this conversation had ever actually taken place, and I still don't think it did, and the person on the other side then clarified, pointing out that Greg had gotten the definition wrong and that he didn't understand what was meant by pushing views on others, Greggy Poo would probably then claim the goalposts were being moved, try to paint the other guy as dishonest. This is another reason you should avoid this question-answer conversation control game, because the questions they ask almost inevitably lead you to saying things you don't mean, and any clarification or qualifier is treated as dishonesty. It's despicable, and I've used to good effect the techniques I've laid out to break that cycle and put them in the position to have to defend themselves as well.
Another question that keeps me safe. I'm not making a claim. I'm not advancing my argument. I'm using questions to point out a weakness or a flaw in that person's view.
It keeps me safe. I'm not making a claim.
He just flat out says it. He's not going to let his own view be challenged at all costs. Make sure nobody can call him out on his balderdash. Make sure he has control of the conversation. No, don't play ball. Take control away, at least long enough to put his side in the spotlight. Point out that his questions are biased, leading, loaded, or cannot be answered as asked, and still accurately portray your true position on the matter. At least half of his technique is to strawman the heck out of you. Don't let him.
That is the most powerful and effective way of moving forward. Plus, keep in mind, there's no risk to you at this point. You are asking questions almost the whole time. You're engaging in a friendly way. It is a wonderful way to powerfully make your points as a follower of Christ.
What are you so afraid of, Greg? No risk to you. Is there risk that you're avoiding? Can you not defend your own position? Because that's sure what it sounds like. Is that why your comments are disabled, little troll? Now, I said that there was one other I'd seen this from besides Christians, and that is our good friend Steve McRae. If you're not familiar with him, count yourself lucky. But a huge part of our disagreement last year, was it last year? I don't remember, was because he was doing exactly this. Him asking questions, me answering, question, answer, and never giving me a chance to challenge his side. Worse, he was demanding yes-no answers to complicated questions instead of letting me give him more nuanced replies. He seemed to be trying to slow walk me to his presupposed conclusion, and I was having none of it. It's because of him, more than Christians, that I've developed these techniques for breaking out of the question-answer cycle and making sure the other side has to defend their position too. Incidentally, I fully expect that one of you will tell him about this part of the video. He'll lose his mind, make a long video reply, and host a 3-hour-long stream, to which I will not be invited, telling everybody quite passive-aggressively how he doesn't hate me, but boy does he hate pretty much anything I have to say, and how I say it. That's just his MO. In any case, as I say, this conversational gambit is dishonest, and when I see somebody employing it, they immediately lose any trust I might have had for them. And that's that. If you want to have a real conversation, great, but avoid pulling this crap. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think. Hell, any conversation should be to plur. Because most ban certain version slogan. Because when you're told that you shouldn't push your block, why can't I do this? People not subscribing to BionicDance is one sign of the apocalypse. Save us all. Subscribe now.